All right, let's turn this music down. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of DRIGK Live. I was showing off my Tachyon 2 I just got in. Excited about that. I'm also still working on this, the K-bone. I really enjoy it. A round square is where I got this. And yeah, these are cool. They're kind of fun. I feel like they might, build up some muscles. But anyways, very exciting episode here, interview going on here. Will Hirsch is feeling better, and here we are. Today is the day, so let's get him on here. I don't need to say much other than you'll find this later on YouTube and also on my Instagram Live, along with all the other interviews. Thank you guys for the continual support because, believe it or not, it does motivate me to keep going. So I do appreciate it very much. Let's get Will on here. There you are. Oh, did I just... Oh. I almost hit the block Will button. Yeah. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Hey. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Are you in your man cave there?
I am. I'm in the office.
Nice. I'm in my living room that I
Very
set
nice.
to look like this every time, and then have to take down so my wife doesn't just see knives all over our living room, which I would.
Oh, really? That's say, yeah. That I feel that because the I'm glad I have the office that we do, because essentially I just kind of set up my office to look the way I wanted it to, but it became the background for all the videos. And so I'm glad that it, at least the background is able to stay relatively static, but we still have to, every time we shoot a video, set up all the lights, bring out, I have a table that we work with, and it's a whole setup and teardown process every single time.
Totally, I know that feeling. Yeah, so I always let I try and usually let the guest pick a song, some don't. So you picked some pretty chill. I threw on some sunglasses for the intro.
Yeah.
I'll take them off now, but yeah.
I like it.
So, yeah, Swarty. Yeah, cool song. I liked it.
Yeah, he's a smaller artist. I found out about him through there's an artist known as Porter Robinson. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's an electronic producer. He's relatively big, but he has a small festival that he throws every year, and he always has some of the smallest artists around that he'll bring on for this festival, and let them shine. And so Swarty, when he did the festival, it was an online one. And so his set was literally a movie. They built different sets, and then they had puppets and stuff. And so he was doing all of the music live, but it was done in these sets where he was playing everything, and there was It was an incredible show. And so, yeah, Swarty ever since has been on my radar.
Very cool. I've heard of both of those names before, but never dug deep. So it was kind of cool to just... I love hearing something new. That's why I ask people. It's turn me on to something, I own a record store and sell knives, but
heck
yeah. So at my shop, originally it was a music shop, sold records and turntables. So I'm really into music and love hearing new stuff because it's really hard to keep up on things.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, thankfully I'm a big music lover myself. I've got two vinyls on display right there.
Nice. So you collect vinyl? You have a turntable? Oh, nice.
I do. I have it's the Audio Technica SE300, I think. It's the nicer one with the direct drive.
Yeah, definitely direct drive. Cool. Yeah, I'm an Audio Technica dealer, funny enough.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and Riga and Ortophone and several other brands. But
yeah, it's got an Ortophone cartridge on it, too. It's got the red.
Most flippers are pretty into music, it seems.
I've definitely found that.
Yeah, but the community definitely puts music in the background of all their flipping videos. You always I mean, it's so tied in, just like skateboarding is so tied into music. I feel that there's this, you know, thing that goes on that it's I don't know, they go hand in hand, I guess you'd
No,
say. You
totally.
listen to music and you're flipping.
Well, and for me, and I'm sure that you have plans to get into this, being that you kind of dug deep for the promotional images. But for me, I've had ties to dance for a very long time, and that was something that I wouldn't say recently, like it's something that I've always wanted to kind of integrate into my flipping, but more recently I've been making more of an attempt to like flip to music and try to integrate, you know, like rhythm and technique into my flipping. And I don't get to upload very much of that, unfortunately, because obviously like music is copyrighted. And so being able to actually upload clips like that is a little more difficult. But on my free time, I find myself flipping to music very often.
Yeah, I do this, the music at the beginning, always with the intention of well, I can chop off the beginning if there's like some sort of issue, because I don't have it playing now because I want the interview to be visible. But I
Yeah.
also don't monetize, and most things I can just not care and be like, okay, I'm not going to monetize on this because that's not why I'm doing it. Of course, if it got to millions of views, maybe I would consider monetizing this.
Yeah.
But so in the
Right
future,
now
you
for
can
the love of
yeah, you can always edit that stuff out later, which is a cool thing about your YouTube videos.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you said many things there in your first little bit there that I was like wanting to touch on. So I don't know. Let's get into the basics first. We'll work our way up because
Yeah.
your list of questions got rather involved. But
Yay. I'm excited.
oh, the thing I was going to say, yeah, the pictures of you. Yeah, I like to do that, like dig back into people's Instagrams a little and just like kind of find something odd. And those pictures or that video of you was so great. I was just cracking up. I loved it. I was like,
Thank
this is
you.
perfect. This is what I want to be the kind of some of the promotional images to go with, along with some of the other more standard stuff. But I like the weird shit. So,
Yeah,
um,
same.
have you ever heard of a guy named Nardath?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Nardath, not Nardath, I'm sorry, Nardwall.
Oh,
Nardath is
yeah, yeah.
Nardwall. He does great interviews with musicians.
Not
And
what?
he
Not.
always finds the weirdest stuff on people.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's so cool. He's I think I'm sure you've watched Hot Ones, right? Um,
Maybe.
it's the one. It's the show where they eat the hot wings while they're doing
Oh
the
yeah,
interview.
yes.
Yeah. He has talked about how the way that he structures his interviews is very much like he takes inspiration from Nardwar in terms of being able to find like those really interesting topics that people, you know, that you would never heard of. So there's actually really good, there's like compilations on YouTube that people have edited of all the different Hot Ones interviews of them being like, whoa, like where did you
I
get that
love
question
that
from, you
stuff.
know?
I love that. I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to that level of secrecy yet. I kind of desire to find that kind of like
Yeah.
inside scoop on everybody I interview. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. So let's jump in here. So I know the answer to a couple of these, but let's just for viewers' sake, where do you live?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right,
Yes.
and tell us how old you are, if you don't mind.
I am 26 years old.
Awesome. And how long have you been flipping?
Oh man, that's a little more involved in terms of I've had kind of stages, right? In my flipping. So I got into the idea of Balisongs at like maybe 2010, 2011. You know, I was at least interested in Balisongs. I had bought crappy Balisongs from you know, the local gas station or whatever. And so I'd been into them for a very long time, but I didn't actually begin like practicing really until say 2013 to 2014-ish. And that's right around when I went off to college. And that 2014 is definitely the first year where I was like really into Balisongs. And then from there, I've been kind of practicing ever since.
Did you find yourself good right away? I mean, nobody's good right away.
Yeah.
But I'm amazed at how good some of the young flippers are right now, right
Oh
away.
yeah.
I'm like, how the heck have you only been flipping for 6 months and you're this good or something? You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, so I think personally there's two aspects to it from my experience, which is one of them is that younger people just have more free time. And
Yes.
so the thing with balisong flipping I've found is the amount of time, like your ability to grow is directly proportionate to the amount of time you're able to put into it. And so if you can practice more, you will grow more. And so, that's kind of what I've found is like the more someone can practice, so a younger flipper, if you have a lot of free time, you can practice more and you have a higher rate of growth. However, I don't think that's the only thing that's made it where like flippers nowadays, like young kids, are incredible flippers. I think it's also the accessibility of two things, not just tutorials and stuff, but also the accessibility of balisongs in general. Because what it used to be is you're buying, really crappy stuff that doesn't flip well inherently in the construction of the thing itself. Whereas nowadays, it's like there are people 3D printing balisongs that are like, good enough for you to really be good at flipping and like learn flipping on. And so it's the accessibility of both how many tutorials there are nowadays. Back in the day when I started flipping, there was barely anything. I learned, I like to talk about this a lot, but did you ever hear of a guy called, oh, Jesus Christ, what was his name? Gary Cleave.
No.
Gary Cleave is kind of notorious in the Balisong community for the people that have like been in it a really long time, as he's kind of crazy. But I found his stuff like really, when I was very first starting with Balisong stuff, and that's actually how I learned to do my little palm spin thing that I do.
No.
It's not the same that Flow does, which is this one. Assassin Flown takes a fan and then turns it into a palm spin. What I'm doing is I'm doing a parabolic, but I'm catching the bottom of it and using it to spin on my palm. And so it's a different thing. But yeah, cleave style. Somebody said, oh, geez, cleave style. It's like, yeah, that was the kind of stuff that we had back in the day. It was like kind of crazy people on YouTube or early big flips, maybe, or like there's a couple tutorials from Lucas from Squid Industries, like way before he was ever, as successful as he is now as a balisong manufacturer. And so, the accessibility of both balisongs and the information as to how to use them, completely different. Like it's a whole new place. So yeah.
Yeah, same with the pandemic. I always think, yeah, you can thank the pandemic. Just everybody suddenly was at home all the time and able to
yeah, that's also
something to
a
do.
very good point. Oh my God, I didn't even put that in my thought. Yeah, the pandemic really, I think, all these kids who were going to school every day, suddenly they're at home.
Right.
And yeah, if you have all that free time, you can really, it's easier to hyper focus like that as a child and really put in the time to improve. And it's cool to see.
And I think flow arts in general, fidget toys, different things like that have grown a lot, where people find more inspiration and interest in them.
Yeah, you find people, like Around Square makes a lot of, or has a lot of really good stuff. And like, you find that guy that you have, and Kendama has blown up a lot, Yo-Yo, different flow arts, flow staff. I do devil sticks as well. And, just different flow arts like that, it's crazy.
What are devil sticks? Are those the two sticks with the one stick in the middle?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you remember your first knife? Well, you mentioned something. What was your very first one?
Let me see if I have it.
I guess this is a two-part question. Were you into pocket knives or anything like that to begin with, or did you go straight into Balisongs because that was what interested you?
So I would say I did have an interest in pocket knives, but it wasn't a really intense one. Like I definitely had an interest, but it wasn't one that I pursued for super long, if that makes sense. Like I was in the Boy Scouts. I think I earned a pocket knife at one point, and I was like, oh yeah, heck yeah. You know, I liked it, but it wasn't something that I integrated myself into as a hobby.
Okay.
Whereas with Balisong, you know, I think the flipping aspect is more what hit me, and that's something that I've also thought about in general. You know, I made a post not too long ago about like, oh hey, if a Balisong slash flow art convention happened, would you go to that? You know, would that be
Oh
something you
yeah.
did in? And I think it's super important because like to me, the more that I'm in the hobby and the more I think about it, the more I realize most of the people in the hobby aren't really in it for the knife part, they're in it for the flipping part. And so the Balisong hobby has way more in common with the flow art community than it does with the knife community. And
I
that's something that
agree.
I noticed at Blade Show. You know, I've been going to Blade Show since 2014, and I've noticed a disconnect between as the Balisong community grows. You know, originally the core community that was going to Blade Show, I think, was pretty direct with the rest of the Blade Show audience. You know, they were there for the knives. But now, when you have all these kids that are, you know, enjoying flipping, and like all these people who are coming in from all different walks of life, when you go over to the Balisong area versus the rest of Blade Show, they're very different spaces.
Totally.
Um, and so that's why I kind of believe to some degree that as the Balisong community grows and flourishes, we will kind of have to become more integrated with flow art than we are with the knife community, if that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, I have a lot of parents that have come into my shop and said, my kid wants me to come in here to buy a Balisong. They're into knives. I'm a little worried. You know, I said, oh, well, first of all, let me explain. It's not that your kid's into knives and violent things. They're your kid's into like fidgety fun toys like
Yeah,
yo-yos and kendama. And I start explaining it more like skateboard. Like they can get hurt
yeah.
worse on a skateboard than with a Balisong, you
Oh,
know.
totally. You know, I like to bring up the fact that like most people when they hit themselves with a Balisong, it's like small cuts. You'll get a nick on your hand or you'll like stab your palm or whatever, and it's like very minor things. It is exceedingly rare that someone actually gets like legitimately injured with a
Yeah,
Balisong, funnily
it
enough.
can happen,
Honestly,
but
it's more likely that you're going to injure the people around you if you're acting like an idiot than you are to hurt yourself.
way more likely to smash your head on a skateboard trick or break an arm or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, it's just the perception of adults and people in the normal world outside of our community that don't understand it. You know,
Yep.
I was really into pocket knives, collecting pocket knives, and then I decided to get a Balisong. Realized how there was this whole underground world of it, and it really resonated with me due to the fact that I used to skateboard, that I'm into music. It just kind of filled this little void that was in
Oh,
me. I was
totally.
like, what is this? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and then I was a junkie after that. I gave
Yep.
all my time into Balisongs, and
That's how
but
it goes.
I still collect pocket knives as well and enjoy throwing knives and
Oh, I
kind of
love
I
throwing.
like the amount of intimate time that you spend with a Balisong, because when you have a pocket knife, you open it, you do a few things, but when you
Yeah,
have a
and you close it.
Balisong, you're spending a lot of time with the knife.
Oh, I love that. That's a great way of putting it because yeah, you really put in there's a connection that you build with the Balisongs that you have. And I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, people don't have just one Balisong because like if you can build that connection with more and more objects and like have different experiences and that kind of stuff, it's you're gonna want that. You know, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think it's super cool. So yeah, I actually did kind of get in because I liked juggling in general, and I used to juggle fixed blade knives.
Nice.
And so that was how I got into Balisongs was I had like the funny thing is I had actually when I first started flipping, much of my flipping was informed by what I had done with fixed blade knives. And so I had like done a lot of acrobatics with fixed blades, and so that kind of informed the way that I did my flipping with like I would do like stuff like, you know, rolling it between my fingers like this more than I would like rollovers or chaplains. You know, and so
Right.
something that I ended up doing was like I would do like this kind of thing where I would take one handle and I would do this little rollover thingy which is essentially it's the same as if you have a fixed blade knife and you're twirling it around in your finger, but I'm just doing it with one of the handles from the Balisong.
Got it. Yeah.
But it was weird because it got me in a different direction than I think many people do. But that's all to say, this is my first Balisong. So,
okay, some sort of Benchmade clone or real deal?
Oh yeah, it says stainless steel right there on it.
Okay.
It's very much made of Chinesium. The play is something else. It's wild.
You could use
but yeah,
that as
this is from a local shop in Denton, Texas. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Texas, like legit just middle of nowhere. I lived off of a county road. Like my address was like county road, and it was a big dirt road that I lived off of. And about an hour away, like 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on traffic, was Denton, Texas. And I would go to Denton all the time because, you know, it was like a local city, very exciting for me, and, you know, something that I wanted to participate in. And so I bought this at the Downtown Mini Mall 2 in Denton, Texas. So if you ever go to Denton, Texas, visit the Downtown Mini Mall 2 and see their selection of
Is
bad
there a Mini Mall 1?
So the funny story there, very sad story. There was a Downtown Mini Mall 1. They were both next to each other, and then a couple years after I moved away, I think in like 2017, maybe even 2018, the Downtown Mini Mall 1 burned down. I think it was like an electrical fire, and it sucked because the Downtown Mini Mall, what it was a like collective, right? So anybody could go there, and they could, you know, like set it up with whatever they wanted. Like you could get a little shop area in the Downtown Mini Mall. So it's just a bunch of little kind of booths.
Okay.
1 second. Hey Google, set the lights to daylight. Sorry if that activates anybody's Google.
That would be great.
I noticed my lights are automatic, and I noticed them all starting to change. Oh no. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh Jesus. Oh God.
The trick is keeping your thumb out of the way.
I think one of my lights on my ceiling stopped working, which is very sad. So I'm gonna have to investigate that after this. Anyways. Yeah, the Downtown Mini Mall 1 burned down, and I mean that place was a fire hazard from the beginning. Like, oh my God, it was so packed to the brim with stuff. Like, it was surprising that place existed at all. Like, it's surprising that it took that long to burn down. But yeah, it burned down, and the thing that me and Brandon were saddest about, because we grew up in the same area, and so we both had memories about the Downtown Mini Mall. And we were saddest because there was this statue in the Downtown Mini Mall 1. It was a life-size statue of Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, man.
And it was like a real like movie prop, like commissioned thing. It had a price tag of, I think, $5,000 or something like that. And it never sold, but it was always there. So Anakin was always there. And we knew that he died in the fire, which was fitting but sad.
Yeah, makes sense. So that was your first Balisong. Are there other flippers you hang out with close by you?
Unfortunately, in terms of flippers that I get to hang out with on a regular basis, not really, other than Brandon. I get to hang out with Brandon.
Does he live close to you? Like, are you guys?
Yeah. So he used to live in the same apartment complex as me. So we were like literally like a minute away from one another. And then he moved last year, and he moved like maybe 10 minutes away at most. So
you guys,
still not bad.
You guys are childhood friends, but now live in Atlanta together as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
Awesome. It's cool to keep close to friends like that.
It really is, the circumstances of it all happening too was kind of like a stars aligning sort of thing. So I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, hey, you got a great person to film you.
It's very true. Brandon is incredibly skilled.
Really good, really
yeah.
good. Yeah. All right. So, but no regular flippers that you hang out with. You don't have meetups or people that you get together with.
I would love to have more meetups and stuff like that. And there are like Stitch is a good friend of mine, Stitch Steele. He lives north of me by about 30 minutes. And there are a few other flippers that actually live like right nearby me. We just haven't had the time to actually meet up. There's a couple guys that I want to play golf with at a golf course that's not too far from here. So we'll figure that out at some point. But yeah, the big problem is that I'm also just very busy all the time. And so, balancing my personal life with being able to actually hang out with people and flip and stuff like that is a little bit difficult.
Taking your Balisong golfing is actually a really nice thing because you're outdoors, you're
Yeah.
surrounded by grass. So, and
Yeah,
then
you can
you're
anywhere.
hitting and you're just waiting for somebody else to go. What are you gonna do but flip your knife, you know?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I've taken mine before. um, so you mentioned uh, some influences, but what do you want to name any others that really got you? Like once you started flipping, who were you watching a lot? What got you like? Was there anybody who showed you some stuff, or was it purely watching YouTube? And
I mean, it's a lot of different places. I can name a few of some of the most important ones for me. Lucas is a big one. His initial tutorials were awesome for me. I really liked the stuff that Big Flips was doing. I watched like all of Big Flip's stuff. I watched Captain American.
oh
I
yeah,
watched his stuff. NRB, Garrett, not a real boy. I watched his stuff when he was on YouTube originally. Um, Before he ever got into making Balisongs, which was very cool. Uh, Also, Assassin Flown, Assflow, incredible flipper, visionary in terms of his usage of Balisongs. I think with Assflow, he's very much more in the flow art camp than he is
for
in
sure.
the knife camp, and I think that that pays dividends in terms of his ability to flip and create new concepts and stuff like that. I've found incredible amounts of inspiration from his content, and I've been following him since forever.
He's one of the first I got really into, him and
Yeah,
Nardath. And I just
yeah,
did an interview with Patrick 2 interviews ago, Asflo. So
yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that. It was a very good interview. So yeah, Aslo. There's also Balisong on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen his stuff before.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, Balisong is definitely an inspiration of mine. Like he has a very laissez-faire approach to flipping, where it feels like he's like doesn't care and he's like just doing it very casually in his demeanor, but the actual stuff that he's accomplishing is incredibly complex and like it requires an incredible amount of work and technique to get some of the stuff that he does just completely casually, like the magnet catch that he invented, which is like a parabolic, sideways parabolic thing that he can just go whop and do. And if I don't even want to try it with this thing, because if I mess it up, the problem with that parabolic is it'll do this and it'll open just right into your palm.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to not F it up. See if I can do the magnet catch with my trainer. Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah.
And like doing those kinds of things definitely inspired me. Also, Flipper Was a Dolphin is a great example of someone who recently has been doing a lot to push the boundaries. Who's the guy that does the who's the guy that does all the power aerials?
Red Edge.
Yeah, or well, Red Edge, yes. Oh, Red Edge is super up there. But the guy, the other guy with the long hair, God, this
Flash
is
or whatever.
yeah, slash and gash, something
Yes.
like that. Yeah, incredible stuff from him, and then yeah, and so actually that transitions perfectly into Red Edge, which is going from. I think slash is a very good example of kind of slash cuts. There we go. Yeah, slash and cuts.
Yes. Thank you.
I think it's very interesting looking at like the history of like going from slash and cuts to Red Edge, right? Because you have a evolution of what you're trying to accomplish. right? Because with slash and cuts, very impressive stuff. And I think it almost shows kind of the new generation versus old generation gap in terms of how people are going about doing flipping nowadays. Because when you look at slash and cut stuff, it's like, oh yeah, he'll do an insane power aerial and he'll land it, and like that's the whole point, is that he like threw the knife 20 feet in the air and then caught it on his foot or whatever. You know, really incredible stuff. Whereas Red Edge takes this idea of doing power aerials and then converts it into a style of flipping that no one else has done before. And so instead of having a single power aerial that you're doing and then catching and then like pausing and then moving on, now the entire style is these power aerials, and being able to fluidly go between each one of the power aerials and being able to like implement a more dancey style into what you're doing, where you're going along with the rhythm of the music.
You were talking about dancing and movement.
Yeah.
And I was thinking immediately before, when we were talking earlier about Red Edge, how he does almost like a dance. He even talks about that in his tutorials, about putting movement into it and where you're thinking about where your hand is when you're doing something.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I love to see that kind of evolution in terms of like what balisong flipping even is as an art form. You know what I mean?
Totally. Are you into guns or anything like that? Just because I had flow art, skill toys, but we talked about that, and on my list was like guns. You know, like what a lot of people, there's that crossover with knives, to throwing knives, to guns, archery, things like that.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you're into?
I've done a lot of different things. You know, I'm from the middle of nowhere in Texas, so I have a lot of experience with a lot of that stuff. You know, we had feral hogs on our property. You know, I lived on 60 acres in the middle of nowhere, so it was an issue. And so like owning guns is something that I've lived with and like had. I have a lot of experience shooting guns, and then also stuff like archery. I love archery. That was one of my favorite things to do when I would go off to camp or anything like that. Like we had an archery set at home, and then I would get to go to different summer camps, and sometimes they'd have like professional archery classes and stuff at the camp that we got to go to, which was so sick. But my opinion on guns has kind of shifted over, you know, my lifetime. And where I've come to now is I'm at this very interesting crossroads of understanding both that there is a necessity for them in certain areas, and like, you know, like if you do live where I lived, going out onto that property at night, or even just going out onto the property alone and like going back into the woods and stuff like that was actually relatively dangerous. And so if you weren't armed in some way, you could potentially have a very bad time. Like there's like coyotes, and specifically the feral hogs are the biggest problem. But I think that there is a problem in America currently, which is like, it's the unregulation of everything. We have so many guns, but we have so few controlling factors about them. And that's kind of where I stand in the middle of it, is like, I think that we can do a much healthier way of dealing with this than just everybody gets a gun, Merry Christmas. You know what I mean?
It's such a touchy topic. I left a post recently and got a lot of slack for it, because I'm the same way. I grew up with guns. I have a gun here in my house. I don't collect guns, but I understand what they are and their use and all of that. My dad owned a lot of guns and still does, but my view of them has flip-flopped over the years, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a touchy subject that we don't have to get too deep into, because we'll probably get a lot of hate back at us. But yeah, it's something that we really need to think about, I think. There needs to be some deeper conversation going on about it.
Yeah, sure. Well, and it's just been interesting being like at the crossroads of being a country boy, you know, who literally grew up in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, and like has grown up to be somebody where I live. You know, I live in Atlanta, which is a relatively large city, and so like having the dynamic perspective that I have in terms of growing up where I did and moving and seeing all these different places and stuff, it's given me a lot of perspective. And
And when
so yeah,
kids are taking AR-15s to school and shooting up things, then there's, you know.
There's a big difference between levels of that.
Yeah. And when you look at other countries and you look at other situations, but I know people are really, really, I mean, they're just really, it's a really heated topic, so it's really tough.
Well, because it's very emotional, and I think that's the way with a lot of topics, right? Is that there's a couple problems. First of all, one of them is I think that like the way that the media has gone about portraying a lot of problems is making them emotional. You know, it's either someone's coming to attack you, or you know, something's happening that's going to destroy your rights, or something's happening in this way, and like it's all very emotional because that's the thing, you know, that gets people to click. You know, that's the whole point of the news, to get people to watch, or that's the whole point of the website, is to get people to click on your article. And you need that fast pace, like get people involved, no matter, you know, what the drawbacks are. And that's sad. And so I think that the best thing we can do is over time kind of step back, take a less emotional approach to things, and realize that like it doesn't have to be that way, you know.
Yeah, it's just really tough. It's a really tough thing. Yeah. Okay. So, what's your favorite trick right now?
Ooh. Oh, that's hard. That's really hard.
What is the quintessential Will Hirsch trick to you? Like, what is the trick that you feel that you do a lot that you feel is really comfortable? Because this is the two-part question. That's the first one.
Yeah, I think that rollovers are kind of my thing. Specifically, the behind the eight ball is my kind of like home base. In terms of a trick, I will often start things with either a behind the eight ball or a thumb rollover or whatever. And so rollovers are very much my safe space in terms of tricks.
There's always those tricks that you do that give you a moment to think, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about a trick that you're working on right now? What's one that you're kind of like trying to nail down that you've seen or appreciate, or something you've seen people do that you really appreciate that you're like, I want to learn that one. It's on my list.
There's been a lot of that recently. Actually, my most recent thing that I've been working on is transfers, like trying to do more transfers with my left hand, and like, you know, integrating that more into my style, because transfers are something that I lacked on for a very long time. You know, recently I learned to do like the backhand fan. So that was something that I had to push myself for, or the Z choker was another one that like I didn't know for the longest time. And so I am kind of continuously trying to update my style and, you know, bring more advanced tricks and stuff to the forefront of what I'm doing, because like I obviously need to be improving. I feel like that's inherent in what I do. And so yeah, transfers are currently the thing that I'm like really kind of drilling into my head.
Because transfers kind of look like crap until people get them to flow, you know?
Exactly.
You know, they just kind of look like, what's up? What's going on there, you know? But
yeah, so it's like I really wanted to like get them to the point where it's like nice and flowy and easy to do for me.
I've been really trying to get this fan, you know, revert, but then
the little palm
but then
fan
back
thing.
The other way. So I like that backwards and forwards thing. That you know, and then back. And then catch.
Oh.
I'm trying to get that down a little better. All right, let's see. You don't ever compete because you're always so busy at Blade Show.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever competed before in any
Ironically, I have not.
Do you ever think about it?
I have thought about it for quite a while. But yeah, I never. Oh my God, my friend Ash just joined. I just saw them. Hi, Ash. Sorry. I have thought about it for quite a while. You know, I got into this at like in 2014. I was already going to Blade Show, and it was something that like I wanted to do. I wanted to participate, but I just never thought of myself as being good enough to participate. And then now it's gotten to the point where I'm just too busy to participate. So yeah, yeah, it's a little difficult. But I have participated in like online competitions before. Um, so that I do have the time for sometimes. But
I think we'll let you take a little break during Blade Show. We'll give that to you. We'll be like, okay, you can take a break and compete, Will. You don't have to work the whole time. Now, I'm sure people would love to see it because you're really good. So,
oh, thank you.
yeah. And it's fun. You know, it's not always about, I mean, when you go to, you know, I've been now to 2 of the Blade Show competitions, and people are just having fun. You know, it's
Oh,
even,
yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter, you know. So I think people just would love to see you up there doing it, you know.
Oh, I totally agree.
Um, what does your family think of Balisongs?
Ooh, that's a good question. My parents are definitely like they're very supportive of what I do. They're interested in the hobby, but they're not like flippers or anything like that. Like they're not actively interested. But they've supported me for a very long time. I got into so it's kind of funny. My mom has supported me very, very, continuously, and that's been extremely good because that's what allowed me to get into like video making and the stuff that I ended up doing, that would eventually become my job. If you go back on my YouTube channel, I've never deleted any one of my videos, which is great because there's still all of the very cringy old videos on there, from when I was in high school and before making, videos with my friends. And what was funny, there's a very fun quote from my mom, which is what I used to do is I used to make these videos that are like, it was like fighting videos where we'd have like guns and I would do visual effects and stuff. And originally, all of the characters in the videos were me. And so, because I didn't have any friends around, so I would just shoot, these videos where I'm like fighting myself and I'm like shooting and killing myself with guns and stuff like that. And my mom at one point was like, well, why do you keep killing yourself in these videos? I don't get it. Like, what's up with that? And like that's kind of weird, And I was like, well, I wouldn't if I had any friends around to do it, but I don't have a car and I don't have any friends around and there needs to be other people that I'm shooting. So I've got to clone myself in the video to make that happen because I'm the only person here. So I've got to make all the things happen. And it was so funny because my mom had never like thought about it from that perspective. And then she was like, okay, I guess that's fair.
Keep killing yourself.
Yeah, and so like eventually I got my car and it became a lot easier to like, go get, my friends. But like my closest friends lived 15 minutes away by car, much less by walk. I literally walked one time from my friend's house that like he lived like 15 minutes away by car. I think it took us 6 hours to get back to my house. So yeah. Wow. But yeah, they lived pretty far away. And so, when you live in the middle of nowhere and everything's so spread out, it's like, well, I only have myself, so I just got to make my own videos. But yeah, thankfully my parents were supportive of that and supportive of me making those videos and like understood that it wasn't necessarily a weird necessity for violence within me. And it was more just like part of my creative process onto, what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that kind of leads into another topic that we could talk about where you left all your content up. You're a pretty open book about things. And I want to preface this with anybody watching that, I grew up with a gay brother. My brother's gay. I have tons of gay friends. I don't judge anybody for anything. I actually started my own anti-hate thing called Basic Rules. It's kind of a nonprofit thing, and I've always been a big supporter of people doing exactly what the fuck they want and being exactly who you are. And so when I first started watching you and you were openly gay, and I just really appreciated that freedom that you had with it in such a place that could be you could get some backlash from in a knife community kind of situation.
Yeah.
So want to preface that with this question. So and I asked you also if we could talk about this. I'm not just throwing this at Will right here. So, because I want to talk about diversity in our community, especially in the Balisong community. You see so many different kinds of, transgender, you see, just all different kinds of people, and I love that. I love seeing that people are just getting together because they want to hang out. But I thought we could talk about that a little. There's not really a question here other than just maybe how did you, how does that impact your life? Do you get any love, hate, from people based on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I made the decision pretty early on to be very upfront about the gay thing. Um, I don't I don't even remember exactly what video I technically came out in. I kind of want to go back and like look and see because I made it very obvious and it was like a running joke from the beginning. But at some point, what happened, for instance, with my merch site being willhirsch.gay, um, one of my friends was like, "Hey, did you know that there's going to be a .gay domain soon?" And I was like, "No, I did not know that." And they were like, "Yeah, it's going to be it's very exciting. Like you're going to be able to have a .gay website." And I was like, and then they were like, "You should make your merch website," because I was already thinking about it at the time. They were like, "You should make your merch website willhirsch.gay." And I was like, that'd be really good. And so I had like thought about it at the time. And so obviously eventually that became like part of the brand. And like, anytime we make a merch plug in the video, it's like another coming out video or whatever. Cause it's like, obviously if that's your first time watching it, it's pretty obvious, what's going on. But I actually don't remember exactly what point in the videos themselves that I made it obvious or like clear, like I said it directly to the audience, is like, "Hey, I'm gay." I know that it did get to the point though at one point, because I think we kept making jokes about it and like bringing it up as a topic that I was gay and like using that, and we kept getting comments that are like, "Is Will gay? Is Will really gay?" Oh, like, "Oh my God, is he actually gay?" And like that kind of stuff. And so there is one video I remember. I don't remember what video it is, but it literally opens with me going, "What's up, guys? I'm gay, and welcome to."
I've seen that one, yeah.
Because I was like, I had gotten so many comments that are like, "Is he actually gay?" That I'm like, I'm just gonna open a video with that to be as direct as possible. And so yeah, it's all kind of blossomed in that way. But ever since the beginning, it was something that I very much wanted to be a part of the brand and who I am and everything like that, because it's a very integral part of me. I'm married, and so it's like part of who I am. And so I wanted to make that part of the videos because I believe that representation is extremely important. I think that having good representation is so important to so many people. No matter what niche community you're a part of, having good representation of that community is awesome. And so having very casual gay representation in my videos, where it's like it's funny, it's fun, we make jokes about it, it's great, but it's also not like the butt of the joke or anything like that. It's just part of it. Right. I think that's important. I think that's really, really fun for us to be able to do. And so that was a goal from the beginning with me of allowing that to happen and letting that be a really big part of, how the videos work and who I am as a person and how I show myself and present myself, being very open and very loud. And personally, I think that it's done a lot. I see a lot of comments from people, like when I released the Pride shirt last month. I had when people buy stuff on the website now, it's actually pretty cool. It sends me a notification if they like type in a message. I actually get to see that message, and then I can give them a video response back. And what's cool about that is that it's allowed a lot of people to be like, "Hey," when they were like, a bunch of people bought the Pride shirt and like, "Hey, I got this, and like you've helped me, come out or be more proud of myself, or you got me into this hobby, even though it's, knives aren't necessarily something that like you would consider to be a gay thing or whatever." It's like just seeing direct examples of the representation working and people, you know, reacting to it and getting something out of it, it's all I could have asked for. It's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's super great. Yeah.
And so it's really my dream in terms of all of that, is like have that positive representation, have that ability for people to, like, you know, see themselves in a positive light through my videos. And to speak to that also, I think it's something that I noticed at Blade Show this year. I'm assuming you were at Blade Show the year prior, correct?
Yeah, I was in at Blade Show West.
Okay.
Yeah. You weren't there.
I was not at Blade Show West. One day I'll be able to travel for it, but right now it's too expensive. But at Blade Show East, I've been going, as I said, for a long time, and the crowd has changed very dramatically over a period of a few years, honestly. And it's honestly really, really exciting to see, like, the amount of LGBT plus identifying people at Blade Show. Like, I don't know, the crowd in terms of the people that are there to enjoy the Balisongs and that are flipping and stuff like that is just so exciting. It's so cool to see such a dynamic shift in the people that are there that feel comfortable to attend an event like this and, like, to express themselves actively and stuff like that. It makes me so happy. So
I think it's also not in the Balisong community as well as it's in every community.
Yeah.
In knife making in general, you know, I sell No Luck Knives. She's openly gay, a great knife maker. I sell them in my shop. And she doesn't do Balisongs at all. Hers are all fixed blade knives, stuff like that. You know, I think it's an art and it's a form of expression. You get a lot of freaks, lovely freaks, in the knife community, you know. So I think it's awesome. And it's also go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. It's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah. So the website I mentioned that I had done, in case anybody's interested and wants to see, is called Basic Rules. It's just basicrules.org, and it's basically just a list of anti-hate stuff. So there's not a lot to it. It's a T-shirt that's basically anti-homophobia, anti-class, anti-xenophobia, and just kind of gives definitions of what those things are so we can watch out for them. And it basically is just the basic rules, is the idea of these are the basic rules of how to not be an ass on our planet.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I was like, I was astonished. I was like, I grew up punk rock, singing in punk rock bands and writing music about equal rights and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, man, it feels like an old song to me that I don't need to keep harping about. But as we go through times, you go, this is still something people need to be reminded of daily, all the time. Of if you look at our world, there's a lot of hateful things going on, and it's astonishing to me that we're not further along. It's really sad that we're not further along. But
well, and I think it kind of comes back to the age-old adage from the rave community that was kind of had its own variations in many of the other music communities, in terms of the punk rock scene or the metal scene or whatever. But the old adage of plur, of peace, love, unity, and respect. It's like, it's a simple mindset, but I think it's something that is important.
Did I say dot? Or I got to look it up because somebody just said the site is down.
Oh no.
Maybe it's .net. Basic rules. Basic. I'm gonna type it in .net. Maybe. Shit. Do I not know? Maybe I got to talk to the. No, I'm pretty sure it's basic rules.
Gotta get yourself to .gay.
Oh my gosh, really? Oh my God, it's down. I gotta talk to my friend. All right, I'll get it back up. We'll figure it out. I'll leave a new post about it.
Great.
Yeah, my friend and I did it together, and he kind of runs the website side of it, which is basically like letting the subscription run out. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so did you mention, are you married or not married, or
Yes, I am married.
you're married? I knew that. Okay, cool. So am I. And what does he think of your involvement?
Oh God. He has been like he's very supportive of everything I do, which is awesome. I've been interested in Balisongs literally since the moment I met him, so that's been something that he's known about me forever. Um, but at one point there was a limit that I had kind of self-imposed on the amount of Balisongs that I can own, and ever since it became an actual job, I have definitely surpassed that limit. But that's the way it goes. But yeah, the he is extremely supportive of everything I do, and interestingly enough, was never really interested in like actually flipping or anything like that. Like he was super supportive in what I was doing, but never actually like wanted to learn to flip or anything like that. But relatively recently, I had given him a BB Barfly, a Firefly. So it was a Firefly V2, I believe. And so he got a BB Firefly and was like, "Oh, this is like a lot of fun." And he started to play with it. And then most recently, I've actually given him one of the first prototypes of the Volp to play with. And yeah, he enjoyed that, and he's kind of got into it ever since, which is very exciting. So
That's awesome. Yeah, my
yeah,
wife can do the basic open, and she helps
yeah, yeah.
me. She helps me pack orders and knows what an inked Kraken is and stuff like
Yep.
that.
And like it's cool. It's really exciting to see like loved ones getting into the hobby. I very much have kind of spread it to a lot of my friends. I'll find, you know, like a lot of my friends have gotten into it one way or another, or something else. I'll go to a lot of like conventions and stuff, or traveling, and like if we're at a party or something, sometimes it'll just end up where someone will ask because they know that I do this, and then like I'll bring out the case, and then eventually we'll have just a group of people gathered around all interested in like what's going on, and I'm showing different Balisongs and stuff like that. I actually one reason I'm very excited for the Volp to come out and be like available is I'll be able to actually potentially buy them for around what the actual production cost is, like from the factory, which means that I could buy like 4 or 5 of them and like bring them with me to places. And then if someone is like genuinely interested in the hobby, I might be able to just give them one.
Right. Yeah.
Which would be very cool to be able to do that. Like I would love to be able to just gift Balisongs to people that are interested if I can, you know? So yeah.
It's always great to show like new people your collection and stuff like that until they start holding something like your alien and dropping it.
It's true. Thankfully, I'm very much I will say I have a very particular way of showing the collection to people. Like if somebody's new, I very much will hand them specific things. Like the Tay Flipper. Actually, I was talking to Tay about this. The Tay Flipper is one of the first things that I will hand to somebody anytime they come to my thing. I'm like, look at this. It's like 3D printed and it's flexible. It's just plastic, but you can hold it, and they'll like take it and like play with it and like really enjoy it. But yeah, there's definitely a way that you have to go about, you know, and like make sure that people are aware that, yeah, don't just grab anything out of my case. That's not how this works.
It's so easy to cut yourself. People don't realize, like, you know, they don't realize. And you know, we have meetups here at my house and stuff, and I let people that know about it use my knives and try them. But sometimes I'll have a friend over and they'll just be like, oh, and they'll just pick something up, and I'll be like, oh wait, you're holding like a $1,500 knife that's really, really, really sharp. You know, I'll be like, give me that carefully.
No, you can't have that. Yeah, it's very funny sometimes. It's like you do have to kind of police what we're doing, because it's one of the biggest things about learning to flip is learning when to quit. It's, when do you let go? When do you drop it? You know, when do you exit the trick that you're trying to do? And that is a skill that you learn with time, and it's not something that people have inherent experience with.
Right.
So.
Can you tell
handing
us
somebody a Balisong can lead to disaster, certainly.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, you had mentioned early reviews and early posts and stuff. You go back and look at some of my early reviews. I had first gotten Balisongs, and I documented my whole like learning process and everything through my reviews, and I cut myself just opening the knife with a Balisong with two hands. It's like right on
Yeah.
right in the middle of one of my videos. Um, so tell us about your first YouTube episode. What was your first review?
The first review was the Benchmade 51, and then before that, I made a collection video that I think was my 2018 collection video, something like that. And so I had a collection video that I created, and then after that, I made a review of the Benchmade 51. So those are the first two Balisong reviews I created. And, you know, both of them, even now, our reviews, while they've increased in scale and complexity in terms of the edit and stuff, they haven't really increased that much in terms of the production. Like, it's still just me and Brandon doing everything. Like, we record all the videos, and then I edit them, or Brandon edits it sometimes, and, like, that's it.
Was he involved in the very first one of those ones that you're talking about?
What's funny, actually, is the first one, the 2018 collection video. There was almost nobody involved in that one except for me. So I did that, and I set up the camera for everything, and I recorded the entire thing myself, and I edited the entire thing myself, and then the only thing that I had help for was my friend Austin, because Brandon actually wasn't living in Atlanta at the time. My friend Austin was like, hey, I was like, hey, I need to record some B-roll for this thing. And I literally made that video in one day because I was just so excited about the idea of doing it that I was like, I'm going to, like, you know, do this. And I spent like 14 hours straight doing that. And I powered through that video in one day. And yeah, it was me and Austin, and that was how we did it. But that was not, there wasn't anything past that. Like, I did almost all of the recording, and then the only thing Austin did really was helping me with the B-roll. And that was the very first video. And then the second video, the Benchmade 51 video, that was still just me recording all of the interview stuff, like the review part. I did all of that myself. And then I had Austin help me once again with the B-roll, and also my husband Joe also helped with the B-roll for that one. And then finally, after that video, I think, is the Monarch review. And that was the very first video that me and Brandon did together. And that's the one that kind of led the way to the rest of everything. It's like, from then on, Brandon was kind of there helping me produce the videos, and we became the tag team that we are.
Awesome. Cool. And do you have any, like, so right away, I guess, from the beginning, I mean, how was the response right away? Was it real slow? I mean, at what point did you really start seeing momentum change?
That's a good question. I think I had seen like a surprising amount of response really from the first video I ever posted. Like I was surprised at how many people like ended up seeing it and liking it and like being interested by it and stuff like that. But it didn't really become a job until like maybe the beginning of 2020, or the midpoint of 2020, where we were like, me and Brandon were having such a difficult time in terms of like just like doing the gig economy in the film industry and stuff like that, that we were like, you know what, let's really invest our time and resources into trying to make this channel something that we can actually do like as a job. And we spent a ton of time and energy in doing that. But yeah, it was a lot.
What do you think is some of the things that you could advise, like people that are newcomers doing stuff, or shit, people like me that have been around for a little bit now doing it, and my YouTube channel is slow as hell. It's like, it is, you know, it does all right, but it's not that great. I do it for fun, you know. It's, you know, I do a bunch of other things, but is there things that, I mean, is it hashtags? Is it like making sure all the settings are right? What is it that you do that you think is the, besides just giving awesome content, is that it? I mean, or is there?
So my advice, I think, in general, is try to do what you do best and try to find something that you can do that other people aren't doing yet. So for me, what that ended up being was I realized that on YouTube there really wasn't a lot of people making like high quality Balisong content. And so for me, I was like, I'm going to take my experience as a filmmaker. You know, I've been making my own little YouTube videos for years, like a very long time. And then I've gone to film school, and I've done all this stuff. And so I know I work in the film industry as a sound guy. And so I knew that I could create a higher production value product just using my experience. And so in my head, I was like, what I want to do is create a new type of Balisong video, because currently there's not really any high production value Balisong content. And so I want to try to do that. And so that's what I did. And, you know, I think what you've got to do is figure out what can you bring to the table. What is your thing? So is it your style of comedy? Is it the type of B-roll you're able to provide? Is it the production value of your thing, or is it a mix of all of those things? You know, but trying to figure out what makes you unique and what is your strength that you can kind of use to continue to push that forward, you know? And so those are some of the important parts for me. The problem is, though, is that I can give as much advice in the world in terms of like, oh yeah, do this thing and like, you know, really focus on trying to be unique and do all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it's really just random. YouTube is an unforgiving mistress that I'm honestly terrified to be employed by, because like, you know, at any given time, the algorithm could just lose favor with either us or Balisong content in general or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a little bit scary. And so, you know, partially it's luck. Like I'm very lucky that people liked our content and continued to consume it and stuff like that. And I do my best to try to share that luck with other people, you know, like with Addison True or Camaro E and Telestro and stuff like that. Like I genuinely try to help other creators by reposting their stuff, and like when they post videos, like posting it on my YouTube page and timeline and stuff like that. But the unfortunate truth is that it's really random. Like a lot of it's just random how YouTube works. So I do my best, but it's
talking about helping the community. Somebody like Lucas, I'm amazed at how much he is always helping other people. And that goes a long way, being part of the community, helping other people, posting other things for other people, just because you like it. When I come across a video I like, I'll try and post it. I don't always do, because it's just can't do everything, but yeah. And then algorithms, you were talking about that. Have you noticed lately there's been that Instagram's algorithm has been all wacky lately with any sort of Balisong information and stuff. So
something else that I think is important too is if you're going to be a content creator, right? If you want to make videos about something or whatever, one of my biggest pieces of advice is do something that you genuinely care about, right? Like, for me, I think one of the reasons it worked for me is because I really care about Balisongs. I've been in the Balisong hobby for almost a decade, and you know, it's kind of crazy how much they mean to me in my life. And like, I genuinely care, and I genuinely, you know, want to continue with this thing. They interest me. There's something that is like a deep passion of mine. And so I'm very willing to make it like my career. You know, it's something that I'm like very happy to do for the rest of my life or whatever. And that's hard to find, right? I know with
like an 80-year-old Will Hirsch, Balisong reviews.
Yeah, with my Balisong and stuff. It's like, you know, finding stuff that you're genuinely passionate about though is super important, because it's my opinion that if you have that kind of passion, people will be able to see that. You know, they'll be able to see that and connect with it, and that's, I think, one of the things that has really helped our channel is I have such a genuine passion for this hobby that I'm just like, I just want to be a part of it. And the other thing too is like on YouTube, I watched all of these other people before me, like Captain American and Knife Caviar and NRB and all that stuff, and Cutlery Lover and Skillagrim and all of these people who make Balisong content or whatever. I watched all their videos and I was enamored by it, and so me doing what I'm doing now is just a continuation of that.
Some people have said that, oh, it's so cool, with the interviews that I'm doing. Nobody's done that yet. And I was like, I stumbled across doing the interviews just because Julie and I sent him some questions. He answered back with an audio thing. I put it over my review of the Orca. And then I was trying to do interviews with other makers. And then I was like, oh, well, I should do an episode with flippers. And I was like, oh, I could do an interview. And then it was too complicated. I kept sending questions and nobody would answer the questions because they were too busy. I was like, I have to trap them somehow into this time frame. And I was like, what if I just went live and recorded it? And that's how this thing came about. Now I'm suddenly doing interviews with all kinds of makers and flippers, So sometimes I think if you just stay with something, you find your, find like what works for you. I didn't mean to, there are other people who are doing maybe something similar to what I'm doing in the Balisong community, but I didn't even intend for it to be different or the same or anything. I just was doing what interested me. Yeah.
That's the same as me.
Yeah.
Like I found out later, obviously, that it's like, I can produce these reviews that are very high production value, but the reason I made the first video was not, I see this niche and I'm going to fill it. It was, I'm passionate about this thing and I can make videos, and I've wanted to, like, the desire to start a Balisong YouTube channel has been there since I watched Cutlery Lover or whatever. And so it's like,
being passionate is a huge thing. I've definitely in that camp where I've never been able to really get into something unless I believe in it. Like if I believe in something, you have me all the way. You have me 100%. If I'm kind of, I'm just not going to follow through. I'm going to be, I'm going to be lackadaisical about it. And that doesn't resonate with anything you're doing. If it, you're not going to be successful or make a believable thing for people. Any new ideas for you? Anything cooking like in the YouTube world or any like beyond? Do you do stuff on Facebook very often?
Not a lot outside of YouTube. The biggest, so I have a few things right now that are happening. YouTube is definitely my main space, and it's because I've kind of grown up with YouTube. I've wanted to be a YouTuber ever since I was a kid. And it was a possible career path that existed. Like that kind of happened when I was a kid, that it became something that you could even do. And so I was like, well, shit, that's cool. And like, I don't know. What people have talked to me, they've been like, oh, do you want to like stream on Twitch or whatever and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know anything about streaming. I don't watch people who stream. The type of content that I consume, I like things that are produced. I like stuff that like looks like a lot of effort was put into it. And that's the kind of stuff that I normally watch on YouTube, where I'll be watching like, like little documentaries that people made, or like video essays and stuff like that. Like I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing content that people put effort into. And so, stuff like somebody having a camera and just kind of like I do the Will Flips channel, obviously, where I like talk unscripted to a camera, but that actual kind of content doesn't really interest me too much, to be fair, like in terms of what I actually consume. And so unscripted stuff on like Twitch, I just don't really watch very often. I'll watch highlights maybe, but it's not somewhere that I'm comfortable with. And so I don't even know if I could stream on Twitch, because it's like, maybe I could, but I don't know anything about the platform. I don't know how to use it. I don't know, what the culture is like. Whereas on YouTube, I do. I know a lot about the platform. I know a lot about the culture. And so that's been useful for me. In terms of expansion and like stuff that I'm doing in the future, what I've realized is I need to stay in my lane in terms of what I know and the stuff that I enjoy. And Balisongs are something that I know a lot about and something that I enjoy a lot about. And so what I've been doing is trying to fill niches that I see that are, you know, in the Balisong hobby, but don't have solutions. So actually, hey, Prism, can you go grab me the cases that are all stacked out there? All right, one of my friends is gonna go grab me some prototypes. But I've been working on like outside projects that are related not to my YouTube channel, but to the Balisong community in general. Because I keep seeing things that I think like we need as a hobby, but we don't have yet. Oh, good. Yes. Oh, baby, look at that.
Nice.
So many cases. I'll go through these in just a sec, but yeah, so one of those things is, as I said, this prototype. The idea
of talk about that. Great transition, Mo.
Yeah, thank you. The idea of this Balisong is to provide something that people can purchase that isn't made by a clone manufacturer, that costs a cheap amount of money. Because one of the problems with the Balisong community, one of the things I've identified from my experience and seeing what I have, is people get into the hobby with cheap stuff and then they don't stay. And so what I want to do is make something where anybody can afford it, and by buying it and trying it, they will like it so much that they will stay, and then they'll buy other stuff. And so that was the idea with this. I believe this is going to be under $60 in terms of price, and it's on bushings, and it's aluminum channel design. It's like got a lot of the stuff that you would want in a Balisong, but it'll be cheap. And it'll be available is the other thing. It'll be available on Amazon. It'll be available hopefully internationally. You know, I'm going to be doing my best to make sure that's a thing, because that's another problem that I've identified, right? Balisongs internationally are impossible to get. Like if you live in like Sweden or whatever, it's so hard to buy a Balisong. It's insane. And so, yeah, having something like this that could potentially be, you know, easier to purchase across the world would be amazing. And so that's one of my dreams there. And then on top of that, we have the cases. The cases are something that I identified as being like a necessity. So this is one of the cases. You have 6 spots for like Balisongs held sideways, and then 1 spot in the middle that's a display spot, so you can put your Balisong in there like that, so you can have your favorite that you show off, and then it's got 6 slots, and then it's got this spot for putting like whatever you need into. It's got an oil hole. It's all designed by me, and then it's manufactured by a company called My Case Builder here in the US, and they're a fantastic custom, you know, foam cutter. And I've worked with them since like 2015 when I bought my first case from them, which is like it's the crappy little yellow one that I had. And you know, that was the very first place that I started, and I bought that from My Case Builder back in the day. And so now that I've got the YouTube stuff going on, and I got to reach out to them and say like, hey, would you like to work with me to fill this void that I think exists, where like people don't have a good way to carry their Balisongs, and we could fix that. You know, I think that people deserve a good way to carry their Balisongs. The other thing too, though, is making it accessible, because the problem is right now also, if you do want a custom Balisong case, they're expensive. They cost a lot of money, like to get custom cut foam made and everything. Oh my God. So part of the idea with working with My Case Builder was also to make cheap ones happen. So like this one is essentially it's in like kind of a gun case. It's blow molded plastic. So the case itself is pretty inexpensive, but it can still hold, I think this one holds 8 Balisongs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So you have 7 here, and then a display spot, and then a nice spot for like a, you know, whatever. Like this case should be under $60, and it'll hold 8 Balisongs. And it's a custom.
And the other one's more bulky and holds 6?
Yeah, it's more bulky. The difference being, though, is that the more bulky one. So this is the other one. There are 5 cases in total. This one is thinner plastic, so you can see it flexes.
Got it. Okay.
And it's not waterproof. So like this is a great carrying case. It's not a great protective case, and it's not a great travel case. So it's awesome for like carrying your knives around at Blade Show, but I wouldn't fly with it, right?
Have you been announcing that you're doing this? Because why is this the first time I knew you were doing cases?
Oh, I've I've been off and on talking about it on my second YouTube channel. But it's been a little. I haven't super announced it, and we're actually shooting a video this Friday about the final version, because this is the first time I've actually had the final version. These just arrived like this week.
All right, got it. Cool.
These final versions of the prototype.
Showing them here for sure.
Yeah. So this is exclusive. This is brand new stuff. This one is way thicker plastic. This is real. This is like a Pelican case essentially, and it's completely waterproof. It's airtight when you close it, like, and all that jazz. And so it has less slots, but it's a lot more durable. So if you're going to fly, you know, you're going across the country and you want to throw something in your checked baggage, put this in there. Don't put the other case in there.
The thing is, well, I might need like 6 of those to fit all my bodies.
Well, so I have a solution for you. So one other one in the budget category. This is technically budget, but this will fit 15, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15 Balisongs, 3 display slots. This is the one Brandon uses. So lots of display area,
awesome, yeah.
Lots to do. And this one is also one of the cheaper ones. So I believe this will be less than $75 or around $75 for 15 Balisongs. You know,
that's
like
awesome. That's great.
Holy cow.
Really smart. That's really great.
But then finally, this is the big Bertha over here. We'll go on a little journey. This is my case. Or, well, this is the newest version of my case, and this is what inspired me to work with my case builder in the official capacity. But this thing holds 38 Balisongs.
Nice.
Across a dual layered design. So here, if I can adjust my tripod for y'all. So you've got this top layer where there's 30 Balisongs on top. And this is how I travel with them normally. And you've got 4 display spots, so you can display your favorites from the collection right there. And then you have an easy access storage tray that I put like oil and small things in that you kind of want available. And then this top part lifts out. And underneath it, you have a bunch of different storage. So you've got a big storage pocket here, different storage across the top, and then spots for 8 more Balisongs underneath the top part. So if you have like really, really expensive stuff that you kind of want to keep hidden from grabby hands, you can put that at the bottom or whatever you want to end up putting there.
Wow, amazing.
But yeah, so 38 Balisongs.
That's awesome. Now we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. Now the difference though, and here's the rub, that is a real Pelican case. And so Pelican cases in themselves are not cheap. That Pelican case by itself, I believe, costs $260 or so. Like, so just the case by itself is pretty expensive. Then you add in the foam, which is all this custom cut foam that has like, 30 different slots cut into it and a bunch of different custom stuff that they're all doing by hand. It makes the case cost around $400 in the end, which is expensive. That's an expensive case. However, if you have 40 Balisongs, that costs a little bit more than $400, I think.
Yeah. No, when you're up in that range of collection, $400 is a lot, but it's holding all of your valuable stuff.
Exactly. It's like in that case alone, right on the top, I've got my Tsunami, my Alien, my Talisong, my Pro Flipper, and a Palatheus Ronin. It's like...
So that being the Pelican case is fully waterproof, everything like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, fully waterproof. It's also the Pelican Air 1535, which is the one that it's fantastic because you can literally throw that entire case and like check it as a bag.
Let me show you something here. Hold on.
Yes.
So here's mine.
Ooh. Yeah.
So I think this is, I believe I don't know the model number, but I think it might be the one you're talking about. This is the 1500.
Aha, yeah, so very close.
So I like this, but some of my longer Balisongs, it makes this hard to close.
Yep.
And I kind of wish I had more of the sideways thing. I have to admit,
Exactly. Well, so
rather
that was a
than them
big
all
thing for
sitting
me.
up like, this
Yep.
way. And then I'm only seeing the ends of the handles. So
Right?
it does take me longer to spot things.
Well, what's so funny too is like, so when you consider the cases that I'm making, right? This is what I mean in terms of like seeing something that exists that I think the Balisong community needs, but it just doesn't exist yet. And so for me, it was like, yeah, storing the Balisong sideways makes sense because it's way prettier that way, and you can like get a lot more of them closer together that way. And maybe it's not quite as efficient as storing them vertically, but I think we as a Balisong community cherish the look of our knives as much as we do the functionality of them. And so this thing, the display area, it's in every single one of the cases. So all 5 cases have at least one display area. And the funny thing is that that's a waste of space. You can put 2 Balisongs into this display area. But I asked on my Discord, I did a poll for a bunch of people. I asked on Instagram, I asked a bunch of my friends personally. I was like, hey, would you rather be able to store 2 extra Balisongs or be able to show off your favorite Balisong? And everybody said, oh, I'd rather be able to show off my favorite. And
I really like that you have the storage for the oil and all the tools, because that's something mine lacks also. I'm always like shoving oil in one of the empty holes, but now I have
then you
no
have to like
empty
fish it out with your fingers.
So yeah, and so now I'm just carrying everything else in a separate bag that I have to go dig through. So I'm rethinking that whole thing too. So yeah.
Yeah, these cases, by the way, so these are the final versions. They should be available within a month. So
okay.
Just letting you know, they're coming. It's really close. I'm like doing the final dash right now. So
very cool. That's what I wanted to hear. Some of the good stuff about what you're up to. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, and then I got to try at Blade Show. Tried your, what are you calling your knife?
The Vulp, VULP.
That's right. And so did you help with the designing of that? Can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah. I designed this entirely. So this is entirely my design. Okay. Everything about it is my design. I simply had them. So what I did is I sketched it up inside of Adobe Illustrator, and I actually want to make a video about how I designed it, like what my process was. But I sketched it up in Adobe Illustrator. I knew what the requirements were, like what I wanted from it. I wanted it to have good grip in specific places, and I wanted it to have a Bowie profile blade, and I wanted it to fit my aesthetics in certain ways. And so the entire design is based off of the fox head logo that is my logo. So everything about it is kind of based off of that as a starting point. With all the chevrons here and the triangle at the bottom, it kind of mirrors the square at the bottom mirrors the square at the bottom of the fox nose. This inside portion and the shape of this is all based off of the nose of the fox and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on design-wise. But yeah, I designed it entirely to scale in Adobe Illustrator. So like everything was to scale, and then I just had them converted into 3D.
So it's aluminum on bushings and washers.
Yes.
And why Bowie? Why did you pick Bowie of all the different options you could have gone on?
So there's a couple reasons for that. One of them being that currently in the trainer market, Tonto is very popular. People like a Tonto blade, which I do not fault them for, because I also like a Tonto blade. And for a little while, Tonto was my favorite, I think. But as I grew, I came to find that just out of all of the Balisongs that I own, a nice, beautiful buoy profile is just my favorite thing.
So like, awesome. It's beautiful.
It's just, especially a hand ground buoy with the, just the sort of shape that it can have and the organic shape, and then also how useful it is as a tool. The shape of a buoy knife is very useful. You can cut things with it extremely well. It's got a nice point on it, but it's not, it's not too much in either direction of being too stylish to be useful, or not useful enough to be stylish. It's kind of right in the middle.
I'm
So
gonna
I really
guess.
like that profile.
I'm gonna guess too that your bottle opener actually works.
Yes, it does. It does. I made very much sure of that.
I'm sure
Um,
you did. I saw your episode of that.
but yeah, so the bottle opener does actually work, thank goodness. And yeah, that profile, what I ended up doing to get the profile of this trainer blade was I actually took a picture of, I think it was the Benchmade 63, their buoy, and I imported that into Illustrator, and then I traced the general outline of it, and then I played with it until I got this. So I kind of, the 63 is very much a classical style buoy that I really liked. And so I took that as the initial inspiration, and then I played with the outline from there until I got to where I am now. And that what I really wanted was like this sort of swoop shape right here. I really wanted it to kind of go down and then back up until it curved up into this nice tip that kind of, it points off to the side a little bit and has that little bit of verticality that I really enjoy. It makes it feel very alive, in my opinion.
It looks great. And what color options are you gonna have?
So currently we're looking at 7 different color options.
Right.
So orange, obviously. And I don't know if all 7 are going to be available immediately, and I don't know how stocking will be with that. Like, we'll just have to see if we can keep up with demand. I know we'll be able to get there eventually, but the dream is that we can. I don't know about the reality. But orange, and then teal to match the orange. That'll be good. Pink is going to be one of them. So orange, teal, pink, green, black be another one, red. And with the red one, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but we're wanting to try to do red and black. So it'll have like, I don't know if it'll have a blackened blade, but it should at least have blackened hardware. So orange, teal, green, pink, black, red, and I think purple.
Oh yeah, gotta have some purple in it.
Yeah, but I wanted to kind of cover my bases, so yeah.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
I think at Blade Show you had me try it out, and I can't remember what I guessed the price at, but I was like, okay, this is like a trick question. So I think I guessed like $47.95 or something like that. I can't remember what it exactly.
You got really close.
Yeah, and so I was like $10 off, not bad. Let's see. So, okay, you have a lot of knives. So we're not going to get into your whole collection because we don't have like the rest of the night to talk here. But can you give us like maybe like 5 standouts? We don't have to stay on them too long, so we can. But if you don't have to pick your top because it's really impossible to pick. When you have a large collection, your absolute favorites. But maybe 4 or 5 standouts that you want to show people.
There we go. Oh wait! Oh crap! Oh, well, it's fine. Okay. I guess I'll kind of start in order here. So first up is going to be the Seraph. I'm a really big fan of the Seraph. I really impressed with what MachineWise has pulled off here, and I think that this is just a testament to his work ethic and like what he's done to improve over time. What blows my mind about MachineWise is that he started here, and got here. Like, look at that. That's crazy. Yeah. And like this is good. This is fun to flip. I don't know if you've ever recorded this, but it's fun. Yeah, this.
I tried one at his shop when I stopped by there, and
it's crazy.
It's atrocious.
It's so cool. But yeah, but seeing the dynamic shift in his ability as a machinist and designer is very cool. So this is a standout for me in my collection. And then next up is going to be probably my favorite Balisong I own. This is my custom Talisong from Eldon Tally. Eldon is a good friend of mine. He's a very, very wonderful person. And it is a Damascus buoy Talisong. And I mean, it's beautiful.
That's
it's beautiful.
Amazing. I love that. I love that knife.
So, I genuinely just, this is my favorite thing. It's not the best flipper in the world, and I don't care. It's just gorgeous and beautiful, and it feels amazing in the hand. So I
Oh, I
love it.
gotta say also, with the machine wise, we're Teal brothers.
Yeah, it looks so good. The teal looks so good on the Seraph. Next up would have to be my Alien by Stitch Steel. Well, as I said, he's a good friend of mine. He's a local guy, and him building every part of this Balisong by hand is just incredible. Like, this is completely hand done. The paradigm, such an incredible Balisong. Like, genuinely, Stitch is an artisan who has such a unique and incredible craft. So yeah, I love my Alien. I'm going to be getting a paradigm at some point. And we're also going to be eventually, hopefully, making a video with Stitch where we like go to his shop and actually document him making one of the Balisongs from scratch. So that's something that I want to do.
That sounds awesome.
Right? Okay, and then moving right along, I have my Emissary from JK Designs. This is the 8th Balisong he ever made. Oh.
Oh, I gotta show you mine because I'll make you. Where is it? Yes. I have one of 3 of these. The Emissary Bowie, your favorite shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, the Emissary is such a cool Balisong. I think it's very impressive how he managed to fit in, almost accidentally, a lot of the features that flippers would have wanted.
This
just
is a great
simply
knife.
By going with his
weird
design.
Turning point at times, but once you get used to it, it's like so nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And yours is double edge?
Mine actually is a trainer. So it's completely dull on either sides. And this is the first time he ever had this blade shape because mine is a custom order. So this is the 8th one he ever made. It's the Emissary number 8. And I asked him, literally, I messaged him like maybe an hour after he posted the picture of the first Emissary. And I said, hey, I want one custom and I want it to be a trainer. Can you do that? And he said, yes. So it is the only one that you can do. It's the only one you can do this with because ever since he made this one, he did 2 things. First of all, very few trainers were produced. So this is one of the only trainer emissaries that exists. But then on top of that, he made them double-edged after that point. And after my first one, he actually reduced the size of this hole. So it makes it actually not really possible to do that.
Do you know why? Was it just a balance point thing or just something to add more weight on the blade?
Honestly, I'm not totally sure. I'm really not sure, but all I know is mine is basically the only one that you can do that trick with. So it's very funny to me. But yeah, I love this thing. It's honestly fantastic. It's a really incredible Balisong, and Julian is an artist for creating it. Also, yeah, Captain American just joined, and yeah, he was one of the people I was talking about in terms of people that kind of like inspired me to do the YouTube thing.
I like it. All his content is always so. I like when people have a sense of humor. Me too. Me too. I really appreciate that.
Okay, so two left. One of them is my ELB Pro Flipper. So this is the Bowie Pro Flipper. I really love this guy. Beautiful. This is a Pro Flipper V1. And it's gorgeous. Like it's beautiful. And I honestly didn't know how much I would like it until I got it, and then I was like, oh my god, this thing really does, like, Pro Flipper is the right name. This thing flips amazingly well.
Is that on bearings, right? Or is that
it is. It's on IKBS bearings.
Okay.
Which is very different than regular bearings. Regular bearings, you know, they're caged, they're in like a thing. IKBS bearings, all of the bearings are individual balls that you have to place by hand inside of there loosely.
And are they metal or ceramic or?
I believe that they are ceramic. I believe there's different kinds of IKBS bearings, though. I believe you can even have like ruby IKBS bearings, because I believe IKBS is just the system of installing the bearings, and then the actual material can change. So I believe the ones in here are either hardened steel or they are ceramic. But people like Fior have actually done like ruby, you know, bearings inside of their Balisongs using the IKBS system.
That's funny. You'll
But
never see them, and it's just like paying all this. That's like knife
yeah,
money.
it's crazy. That's a lot of money for a very fancy feature. But the what's super interesting about the IKBS bearings is that they feel halfway between bearings and bushings as a thing. So yeah, very very interesting.
Nice.
And then one final one, last one I'm going to talk about is the my trash tsunami. So this guy is the tsunami that is made entirely from prototype parts.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
And I love it very much.
The tsunami's a great knife. Really great.
So
oh my god, the hype is real. It's such a good
the hype
knife.
is very real.
Yeah. So will you be at Blade Show West?
Not this year, unfortunately. I wish I could, but yeah, not going to be at Blade Show West this year. It's just too expensive to fly across the country for me currently, but I'll figure it out eventually.
Cool. So we talked about you and Brandon because I wanted to talk about him for a moment. What other hobbies do you have? Anything else you do when you're not doing all this madness?
God, so many things. I'm into like everything in some way or another. But the big standout ones are I'm really into music and audio. I love sound. I'm a professional sound guy in the film industry. That's my other job. So sound is something that's exceptionally important to me. I've worked on a bunch of movies doing sound.
When you do sound, what do you mean? Like you're doing like the recording of, say, something going on, or are you doing the music to something? Or
so I do on-set dialogue recording. So okay. I do I'm what's known as an on-set sound mixer. So I do on-set stuff. I'm either putting microphones on talent as a utility, or I'm boom operating, or the majority of my work is actually behind the scenes on movies. So I do the interviews that you would see on like the DVD. You know, so say you bought a DVD to something like Godzilla, King of the Monsters. if you bought the DVD, all of the behind the scenes content on that DVD was recorded by me. So all of the interviews with the talent, and also when we do stuff like, if you ever watch like Dateline Tonight or like the Entertainment Network or whatever, and you have a on-set correspondent where they go out and actually visit a movie set while they're recording, we're the ones that do the production for that. So we're the ones that are miking everybody up. All the audio is my audio and stuff like that. So yeah, I've worked on
part of that too.
Not the stuff that I do in terms of the behind the scenes stuff, but Brandon is a camera operator in the film industry, and he's worked with me on all sorts of different stuff. We've worked on TV shows together. I haven't really gotten Brandon into the feature side of things. Like I've worked on a ton of movies, like big feature movies, but Brandon is more on the TV side. So yeah.
Have you ever been at work for your normal job and somebody going, "Aren't you Will Hirsch and you're recording?"
So I haven't had anybody recognize me as Will Hirsch at work yet. But recently, actually, a good friend of mine who is a prop master, or sorry, not a prop master, they're a on-set dresser. They work in the set decoration department. Their props master was like, "Hey, I need to find somebody who has butterfly knives. Like, I need a butterfly knife for this character, and I need it soon." And my friend was like, "Well, I know somebody. You should hit him up." And so they gave me a call, and I actually rented out like 5 of my Balisongs during Blade Show weekend. Actually, I rented out 5 of them and had them used for a TV show. I believe it was a TV show. Maybe it was a movie, but either way, it was something that was shooting in Atlanta. They borrowed some of my Balisongs and rented them from me. And so hopefully now, you know, when people need a Balisong in the future, the prop masters all, you know, they all talk. And so if someone ever needs one in the future, they might end up calling me again.
There's a guy I know in the Balisong community that is a stunt man, and so he's learning Balisongs to be in a movie for something coming up, and I can't remember all the details, but that was really interesting. Him and I were talking.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't had anybody tell me yet, or notice me yet on set, but you know, I guess one problem with that too is that on set, you know, the masks are very much required. You know, if someone gets COVID on a movie set, it shuts down the entire movie set. Because like if an actor gets COVID, you're out of luck for a minimum of 10 days, right? If you were shooting with that actor as the lead talent. And you have to consider movies are so expensive. Like if you're actually working on a big budget movie, it costs like, it can cost millions of dollars per day. In terms of the amount of money you're spending on stuff, depending on what day it is. For big set pieces, it can be an insane amount of money being spent every single day. And so you can't have an actor get sick, you know, because then that derails the entire project and you're suddenly spending tons of money that you weren't prepared to spend. And so it can sink an entire project. So yeah, it's very, I've been wearing masks anytime I'm on set, and so that might hinder people's ability to recognize me. But so far, I haven't been directly recognized on set. So I do have plenty of friends on set who know about what I do. Right. My friend Ash, who was in here earlier, actually, I don't know if they're still here, but if you are, hi Ash. Ash is a person that I've worked on a number of projects with, specifically a couple of different Netflix shows. And we became good friends during that. And they're not really like a Balisong person necessarily, but they're just a very cool person who I connected with a lot. So
it's nice to have normal friends, I call them.
Yes.
Friends outside of the community that are nuts about Balisongs. So pets, you have a cat, 2 cats?
One cat. We did have 2 cats, and then one of them passed away. Oh. So we had Penny and Toast, and then Penny passed away. So now we just have Toast. But Toast is doing very well. And as you can see behind me, I have a fish tank here. I have 2 fish tanks in the house. And then I also have lots of other smaller pets. So like next to this fish tank is a terrarium, and then another terrarium, and then a big terrarium. So this small terrarium, you can see there's little bugs in here. These are isopods. Okay. So these are, they're called magic potion isopods. I actually just fed them, which is why they're all over in the corner here eating the food. But yeah, they're literally just roly-polies. So if you've ever seen a roly-poly before, that's the same thing. I think they're also known as like wood shrimp. Yeah, they're literally the same thing. They just, these ones happen to be albino.
But they look bigger than normal roly-polies. Right?
It's just because they've grown up.
Okay.
You know, in the wild, it's kind of rare for you to find one that's lived a really long time. But obviously, if they're living in my little terrarium, they're gonna have a pretty happy life. So they're in here doing fine. And then let me see. We'll go to the big terrarium here. This is a bioactive terrarium that has my pet takoyaki in it. Where are you at, buddy? Oh, there he is. Gotta make him want to come out. This is takoyaki.
Oh, nice. Is that a gecko, right?
Yes.
I have a crested gecko in a live aquarium as well out back.
Very nice. Yeah, he is a gargoyle gecko, so he's from the same place as crested geckos and has pretty much the same care requirements. And yeah, I have a bioactive terrarium, which essentially means that his terrarium kind of takes care of itself. So it has its own like bugs in it that eat his waste, and then they fertilize the plants, and then the plants eat the waste of the bugs, and it's a whole system. So yeah.
Do you still buy crickets and things for him though?
Oh yeah. But actually, generally, he mostly eats the crested gecko diet, like the powder food, and he likes it a lot, which makes him very easy to take care of.
Mine wouldn't eat that. It just would sit.
Really?
There. No. Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, he loves it. He really likes the crested gecko diet.
I give mushy bananas and crickets.
Oh, mushy bananas is good.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, he doesn't like bananas very much. I had to get him the crested gecko diet stuff without bananas in it.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
mine likes bananas or different chopped up fruit and then crickets.
Yeah, he's a super cool little dude and very, very nice.
So then I had about the photos, the dancing. If anybody should go look back on that dancing video of Will.
Yeah.
It's so good. Um, Facebook, and we talked about that. Do you get so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but do you get tunnel vision on like Bali flipping? You know how you dove so deep into Bali songs. Do you think you're like that about other things, like your fish tank? When you got your fish tank going, you were like fish tank brain for like.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. So I have ADHD, and it's the funniest thing actually, because I thought that I had ADHD for a long time, and then like last year-ish, I texted my mom and I was like, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna go to the doctor because I think I have ADHD, and it's like it's really starting to affect me now because." So here's the thing: I've been my own business for a long time. Like in the film industry, it's a gig economy. Um, but you still have a boss, like you still have a person telling you what to do. Whereas with the YouTube stuff, I really am my own boss. Like if I don't tell myself to get stuff done, then nobody else is going to. And so the ADHD, thankfully I'm functional enough that like if someone tells me to do something, I can do it. But otherwise, I'm not necessarily gonna be great at it. And so yeah, that was a big deal for me. Come here, buddy. Was like, oh no, this ADHD is like actually affecting me, worse, I think, because of I have to make videos and like I have to be my own boss in a very serious way if I'm going to keep doing that. And so I texted my mom like, hey, I think I have ADHD. I'm going to go get that checked out. And my mom texts me back like 5 minutes later and is like, oh, you definitely have ADHD. We got you diagnosed when you were like 5. And I was like, oh, that would have been great to know. Yeah. So I got diagnosed when I was like 5. So I've just had ADHD diagnosed for like 20 years and I didn't know about it, I guess. Which to be fair, I did pretty good for myself. Like I got through college and everything fine, which is impressive. But yeah, it finally got to the point where I kind of needed medication. So I managed to get myself some Adderall and stuff, which has really helped with the YouTube stuff in terms of me being able to produce content and actually focus on editing. But yes, because of the ADHD, I am... Come on, buddy. I am very easily hyper-focused on something. And so if something catches my attention, it catches all of my attention, and I will insanely hyper-focus on that thing. So yeah, when the fish tank thing happened, it was all fish tanks. Like it became a big part of my life was making and like designing fish tanks for a bit. And then same thing with the terrariums, the isopods, and this guy. Like, it all kind of very much hyper focuses in on something. That's just kind of how it goes for me.
I'm the same way. I'm so project based.
Good jump.
Where I have to like stay on a project until it's done. If I start editing something, I will be up all night until it's done. I have to like peel myself away or literally fall asleep where I'm sitting. It's really unhealthy sometimes. Yeah. Okay. We talked about your schooling. What about schooling and education? You said you went to school, studied film stuff, and audio.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I became a sound mixer for TV and film. I went to school at Full Sail in Florida. Honestly, film school is not something that you need to be in the film industry, though. And Brandon is proof of that because Brandon never went to film school, and he's literally the person that does all of the filming for our videos. So
much of that stuff too is work experience and just doing it.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That what Full Sail gave me was experience. They had sound stages that you could like actually work in, and so all Full Sail gave me was a head start in the sense of I was able to leave Full Sail and immediately start working on productions. because I had already done it. Like I had physically done the thing that I was going to need to do later. But that was it.
Yeah, I used to
I don't
own,
know if I'd say if it's worth going.
I used to own a recording studio, and I learned all about tapes,
Yep.
recording, digital recording, working with bands, working closely, mics, cords, wiring studios, everything.
Did
I
you ever
did.
have a Nagra?
What's that?
I said, did you ever have a Nagra?
What is that?
It's an old tape recorder. They were very popular for a while, but they're portable, so it's not necessarily a studio thing.
No, I never had one of those. But yeah, so much of all that just learned by experience, just getting the equipment, learning how to use it, being
Yeah.
around other people, studying it, reading books, watching YouTube, whatever, and just doing it, you know. I am a real believer of anything you want to do, you put 10 years of your time to. If you want to do that, give yourself 10 years of hard focus. You can make a living doing that thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it sometimes will take 10 years to do it. You work often with squid, machine wise, you've done a lot of stuff. Makers you really like and you get along with, things you really
Yeah.
believe in. Is there anything new makers that you're seeing coming up that you're really interested about, that you're, yeah, or flippers, people in the community, anything that you want to give any shout outs to that you're like, ooh, I've been seeing them, I see you, or do you not want to give any of that up at the moment?
Well, so honestly, it's a little difficult for me because of my position, because I'm in a weird space where obviously I try to be as open-eyed and open-eared as possible to the community, because like, you know, I'm in it. But at the same time, I'm only one dude, so I can only pay attention to so much stuff. And so when I've got all of these different things vying for my attention all of the time, it becomes a little bit difficult for me to actually like keep up entirely with every new maker that's coming out and all of these small things. So people will all the time comment and be like, hey, have you heard of this thing? Like, review this thing. And I'll be like, I've never heard of that before, but I'll look into it. Because those kinds of comments are extremely valuable to me. But what I can say is that the amount of new makers that are coming into the community is insane. It's so cool. It's like really, really, really genuinely exciting. And so having all of this stuff happening, having all of these new makers, you know, come in and exist, and new flippers come in and bring in new ideas, people that are flipping in ways that we never even thought, like, not even as a possibility, but just like, I just never thought you could flip like that, you know? It's very cool. So, yeah. I'm just excited about the community in general, dude. There's so much happening.
Nice. Well, we're almost going on 2 hours here with this interview. This has
Yeah.
officially been my longest interview, and I'm really sorry for taking up your time. And I didn't.
No, I'm happy to do it, dude.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate your support with me, and since we've been having some conversations, you're a really great dude. I want to take some time though to give the viewers a chance to ask some questions. So if anybody wants to throw something up here on the screen, we'll try and take a look at that. But
Mind
yeah.
if you give me just 1 sec? I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I've been holding it for like almost an hour now, and I'm very proud of myself.
Do it. I'll talk.
But
I'll talk.
I'll be right back. Distract people. I'm gonna just mute my microphone. I'll be right back.
All right. All right. We'll get back to those. So yeah, this is gonna go on YouTube. So anybody who's not caught the whole thing, needless to say, I think we're all thankful for Will taking the time to do this. I thank you guys for watching. Yeah. What do you guys think of my new TAC 2? Pretty cool, right? I got some other new ones as well. Let's see. I'll show you another new one. I got the Adhd recently. His stuff is really great. Really awesome. This is Cerakoted, the blade and the handles. The TAC 2 is great. I love it. I might have XK do some spacers for it, something like that. But it's definitely so far staying in the collection. I really like it. I do. It's sharp as hell though. What do you guys think of this? I really love how the red pops. I don't have any other Cerakoted knives, so I wanted to try one. And when I saw these get posted, I was like, yes, now I want the Aztec. How much was it? It was $7.50 for this. There's a limited edition of like, I think 12 of them or 9 of them, something like that. So I picked one up for myself. I really dig this Aztec.
I'm back.
Hey, cool. So yeah, let's see. I'll scroll back a little, or if you want to, somebody asked something here.
Yeah, I'll take any questions.
What happened to the Balisong video, and who's your favorite underrated flipper?
Ooh, the Balisong video. The problem is that Eldon stopped making the Balisong, and the angle of that video was very much about buying the Balisong. And so I'm really honestly annoyed because we haven't had the time to do this, but it has been in my plans to remake the Balisong video from the beginning and make it more about the artistry of the Balisong. And I want to actually integrate like an interview with Eldon into the video and stuff like that. So I have plans to remaster it, but yeah, it just ended up becoming not relevant and not really kind of truthful in a way, and I want to fix that. So I have had plans to make a new updated Balisong video for quite a while now. The stars haven't aligned in terms of the time.
I finally got to meet him. Well, I kind of met him once before, but then finally got to get to know each other a little more in Atlanta. And him and I are the same age, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
He's a super nice guy. Somebody asked what my favorite Balisong is. I cannot answer that question, so that's
a hard question.
It's really impossible for me. That's something else. Answered that.
I'll say, speaking of the Balisong, I'm going to have my Balisongs.
My weirdest knife. I guess I'll just answer this real quick. Where is it?
Whoops.
Oh. Where's my weirdest knife? Oh, right here. I would say this one right here, the YOLO's.
Yeah.
Solo. This is a weird knife, but really nutty sounding, really cool sounding.
That sounds great.
Right? Super cool handles.
I think my weirdest is definitely the janky Tsunami.
Yeah, that is a weird knife. Let's move on. What's your favorite underrated knife?
Underrated knife? Oh, man. That's a hard one. Honestly, it might be the Balisong Z. I really, really like the Balisong Z. I know some people don't because of the bearings in it, but I personally really love the thing.
I guess I would have to pick, because everybody thinks I'm nuts, but the Matrix 2 with this blade. This is it has to be this blade, it has to be the Matrix 2, is literally in my top 5 favorite flipping knives.
Wow.
I love this knife. It's crazy.
That is an underrated masterpiece then.
Yeah, this thing is, but I like the OSP, the Matrix 1, I really didn't, it wasn't for me. I sold it, but then I got this and I love it. Love, love, love it. What else do we got here? Let's see. Have you seen the Bali scissors yet? Did you get to see those at Blade Show?
I did. I did get to try the Bali scissors at Blade Show. They are honestly one of the coolest things I've ever touched.
Contraption Collection, yeah.
Very cool. Contraption Collection is a very awesome dude making really, really incredible stuff. Like, that's what he's doing is very, 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 very exciting and cool. So yeah, I really like them.
And they work. I was like surprised at how well they work.
Yeah, they really work.
It's not just like some like crappy thing. It's like those scissors are good scissors, and it's a really good Balisong.
Yeah, very impressive.
And made with good parts, you know, like it feels solid. It doesn't feel like it's just whatever, you know, it feels really cool. Let's see. Make it through customs to Australia, Squiddy. It should, but I've also had Australia take away Nautiluses from me at customs. I was so upset, it's so
You'd never know with
frustrating.
Australia. It's difficult.
I was so sad for our customer, but yeah, we sent him another one, so I lost out on two, and it was the last time I ever did that because I lost 2 Nautiluses to customs, and the customer never got their Balisong that I'm aware of, unless it showed up much later.
I bought a I bought a Flytanium, or sorry, not Flytanium, a BB Barfly, BB Firefly for one of my friends in the UK, and it's been held up in customs ever since. And they're like, or like the local police like took it and like showed up at his house and were like, hey, you can't have this, it's a knife. So I've had to like help him battle that, and I still don't know what the situation is yet, and if he ever got a hold of it. But yeah, it's annoying.
Let's see. I hate above. What's your favorite Balisong related channel?
Oh man, my favorite Balisong related channel?
Yep. I don't know. That's a weird.
Oh, that's hard. I still watch. So I really enjoy some of the newer ones. Den BMX has been making awesome stuff. His videos are hilarious. Camaro E and Tithe Telestro. Blade Wielding Queen has made some cool stuff. Hazel. Still to this day, freaking, I mean, Captain America is still making amazing stuff too. God, who am I trying to think of? Come on, Addison True. Addison True made incredible stuff for quite a while. I mean, we're just really in a renaissance of Balisong content. You know what I mean? And for me, it's a little bit harder because like
DRIGK, Will. You know the
you're
answer.
right. Sorry.
You know the answer.
Yeah, the answer's literally right in front of me. But yeah, we're in a renaissance in terms of Balisong content because there's so many unique people with unique perspectives all making cool stuff. And like, that's all I could have asked for. That's the coolest thing in the world.
What's your most expensive Balisong?
My most expensive Balisong is between these three, though I'm pretty sure it's my Talisong because this was $1,200. So I think it was the Talisong.
I'm going to say the Paradigm or the GA here.
I love the GA too.
Yeah. It's hard to say because some things hold more of a value or cost you more. It's like depends on the situation. So.
And at a certain point, I bought stuff so long ago that I just don't even remember.
Yeah, because I have some other ones that are debatable that are worth more, but yeah. Let's see. Tanto or Kraken Bowie? Or Tanto
Bowie,
or Bowie Kraken, sorry.
Bowie for me, but I do actually believe that the Tanto flips slightly better. But I just love the look of the Bowie Kraken. I just think it's great.
I love my silver Bowie as well.
Yeah.
But I like the Tantos a lot too, so that's another tough call.
They're both good. Squid Industries, if there's one thing that Lucas is good at, it's designing an aesthetically pleasing product.
Favorite trainer?
Honestly, probably the Crackerakin trainer.
I would probably have to go with that or the Nautilus, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but I like a lot of different ones again. I recently got an Orca trainer. I like that. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the weight,
it.
a little more weight on things, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. I missed something. What's your favorite vegetable? I'm gonna have to go with broccoli because I know the.
Yeah, I'm a broccoli guy. I like broccoli. Broccoli's good.
Well, Bark Handle always his little deal is broccoli, so I knew to say broccoli. But I don't know. I really like a fair contender to broccoli would be what is the spiral stuff that tastes like broccoli? It's like radicchio or Romanesco.
Yeah.
That stuff
I'm
looks.
also a big fan of cauliflower, like fried cauliflower. Buffalo cauliflower, so good.
Romanesco looks like an acid trip as you're eating it. But nobody knows what that is. I know. I've never. Preliminary opinions on the Prisma. Heard people talking good. Yeah, it's great.
It's so good. It's so good.
In your opinion, is Dub underrated?
Is what?
Dub?
Dub.
He is. That must be a person. Okay.
Oh, maybe Dubmo Blade?
Yeah, maybe.
And yes.
Okay, we just answered that. All of JK's stuff is overpriced. Well, probably true, but you know, he deserves it.
Well, and it's overpriced is a very hard thing to actually put into a value. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if, like, there are things that he sells that I don't know if I would pay that much for. But overpriced is a very blanket statement to make. You know what I mean? It kind of takes the nuance out of the value of an item and how much work it takes to make something.
Exactly what I was going to say, man. The JK's work he's been doing it for so long, and it's so good when you flip his stuff. It's really good. So there's collecting, and there's people who want something to flip. You know, it's like there's different kind of levels to all that. So it's not, you know, it's not JK's fault that people love his stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, we kind of went over some of the smaller maker stuff. Favorite soda.
Ooh.
I
like Cheerwine a lot.
If you had to choose a knife under $300, what would it be?
Probably Cracker Rackin'.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
Like if I could have one Balisong, probably Cracker Rackin'.
Did you ever get your Monarch?
I did. I have it here. I haven't tuned it. I need to actually tune it, but I do have it now. And the handle gap is currently fixed, though I've not flipped it a bunch, and I think it has reduced since I got it. Like when I first got it, it was like this big, and now it's like here. So we'll see.
Do you know how to scissor? I'm going to say yes to that.
I do know how to scissor. I'm not super good at it.
Yeah, same boat. All right, let's see. Planning on making any Balisong videos, more audiophile vids?
Yes, kind of. I'm not totally sure on the on like doing the non-Balisong related stuff, because the problem is right now is that it takes so much effort to even put out the amount of videos that we do, because it's literally just me and Brandon. And so, you know, to put out the videos we even do in the first place, it takes a ton of effort. And so to make any videos that aren't Balisong related will take just as much effort. And so that means that we're going to kind of have to like take time out of making Balisong content to make other stuff. So yes, potentially in the future, we're just not sure how we want to go about it yet.
Any tips on getting better at double scissors? I've only landed it twice. Practice.
Yeah, practice is all you can say. Yeah. Repetition.
Yeah. Let's get two more here, and then that'll be it. What's a Bali, like a Kraken, that's the same flippability, price doesn't matter? Well, I mean, the Prisma is very similar kind of to a Kraken. And,
Yeah, Prisma's great.
but are you talking live blade or trainer? Let's see. Reverse chaplain tips.
Reverse chaplain tips. You kind of gotta the action of it is weird, and so practicing it is almost the same as practicing a chaplain, but you have to get past this like brain block of doing it backwards, because it's literally the opposite feeling of doing a chaplain forwards, and so yeah, it's a weird brain thing you have to do.
Yeah, I do it good on my thumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and then it's also like a positioning thing, like getting yourself at the right position. But anyways, Will, man, I'm gonna let you go, dude. Thank you so much for being on here.
Yes, you're welcome.
You're awesome, and I look forward to the next time I see you and watch something of yours. And we all thank you for being here. And yeah, this is DRIGK signing out. Adios, amigos. Thank you, Will, so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Any last words?
I think that's it for me. I really appreciate you having me on. This was honestly a lot of fun.
Awesome. Cool. It was a long one, but we broke the record. So
yes,
I'm
proud.
Lot to live up to next time, but all right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.